Hi again, everybody. This video is sponsored by contribution from Amy, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. It was July since I recently I got a grand piano by total surprise. Did not think I could afford one anytime soon, but got a good deal. Like the one that I always wanted since a teenager, so I was having fun with that and only touching base with some of your most recent stories. Just a reminder, I was the buck stove asthmatic. She had a wood-burning stove where she slept, and it was blackening her lungs, basically. Thank you for your help. Because of your YouTube videos and helping victims of narc abuse, I was able to understand why my mom's constant neurotic behavior at home. My dad, like you said, is complicated. Not only a narc sadist, but I was wondering about borderline because his emotions would go from excited or mad to mad or vice versa in a half second. He would get mad if I or an old friend of his or got close to know him. Or is that more just narc behavior? Well, borderline is part of the narc family. You know, you could be narcissistic and have borderline personality disorder. You know, I put narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, cluster Bs. It's all the same. It's all in the same bag. It's all on the same spectrum. You're dealing with the same tactics. Whereas borderlines are, I find, more manipulative in their emotion, and histrionics is just constant histrionic and emotion all the time with a histrionic personality. A borderline is the one who goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Histrionic personality is all drama all the time, and narcissistic personality disorder are the ones that are the hardest to spot because it's all mostly covert and behind the scenes. My brother Andy and I never knew what to expect from him emotionally when we were children. Maybe that was just another controlling mechanism he had. He was very controlling towards me and still tries to be in his old age. Anyway, I wanted to continue my sick story. We were taught by our pediatric doctor that we would grow out of it, but neither Andy and I did. He still has asthma. I have asthma with an additional 5 chronic ailments. By the age of 34, I accumulated dermatitis, hypothyroidism, and a skin disease is my nervous system that nearly killed me, severe acne, and fibromyalgia. I still don't know how I'm still alive with my small narc family. I had to figure it all out and support myself on my own. My herbal doctor realized that taking care of myself was like being a single parent, which I already knew, except I got no social support nor understanding along the way. My life has been difficult. As a teenager, the asthma was not deadly like it was as a child, but still hard because walking long distances was hard. During this time, I was suffering from depression and struggling against a family that was emotionally against me. Having friends even in childhood was hard because my parents were so overprotective that they scared my friends away from me. I did all that I could to be nice to them, thinking it was not me. It was me not understanding that they were scaring their parents away. So I took it personally, not knowing what I know now about being the scapegoat. I was a shy teenager because I thought they just didn't like me. I had the passive-aggressive narc mom and narc dad. I was walking on eggshells, knowing anything I could do could be used against me, such as going to church with a friend or even playing on the tennis team. At 17, I wanted to kill myself, but did not have the courage to do so. This is when I was doing my best and being very successful. I was an honors chemistry student who played in 2 orchestras and was taking private piano and cello lessons. I was awesome, but didn't think so because my parents severely ignored me to pay 90% of their attention to my athletically talented baby brother, golden child son husband, and the other 10% to Andy and his girlfriend, who he is still with and are married with 2 sons. I knew better than to talk to them about my feelings because that would have made them mad. I was too depressed to date because I knew they did not want me to and it would be used against me. I also felt that they did not want me to have a boyfriend or reproduce because they ignored me so severely. They did not care about me as long as I was out of trouble. They would not yell at me and dad wouldn't kick me. Between 17 and 18, I had difficulty thinking my mom was really my mom. I went to college with a cello scholarship since dad told me I wasn't good enough to get one, and was a chemistry major still living with my family. I worked part-time and schooled full-time for the first 2 years, and then asthma came back in a severe manner. Andy was in the hospital 3 months prior and nearly died because of it, because the family doctor could not find an effective antibiotic fast enough. That was when he got a pulmonary doctor to save his life. We were in our young 20s then. He said his age is what saved him. So I started seeing this doctor and realized my academic plans had to change in order to save my life. My lung capacity was so poor that a cold or flu would have landed me in the same predicament Andy was in. I ended up going to school part-time and quitting my scholarship in order to make time to exercise. The doctor told me not to exercise, but I thought there was something wrong that my lungs were this bad at the age of 20. With the exception of Andy, all the other patients I seen in his office were elderly, so I made up my own regimen. Even though they knew I was seeing the asthma doctor, my parents ignored my condition. When this happened, I was waiting tables and got bad at it because I could not walk fast enough. I really should not have been working, but had no choice. So I would come home on Saturday night with only a few dollars in my pocket, but was smart enough not to tell my parents or make an issue of my health with them. The following year, I got some virus that was going around that made me rest and not work for 1 week. One evening that week, Dad came home from work, opened my bedroom door, and asked, "Are you pregnant?" when I hadn't dated in a year. I was just lying in my bed, resting. I became very athletic. I started walking around campus between classes and on the weekends. Eventually started sprinting. One evening after sprinting at the park, I came home with blood all over the front of my white t-shirt. When I walked in the house, my mom was there. She looked at me and said nothing. I always had sinus problems, and when my nose started bleeding, it was hard to stop. At 22, I was working out 12 hours a week and ended up running 5Ks and 10Ks at the age of 23. Then it was very odd for a 20-something to be athletic, but it helped me out significantly. With these strenuous workouts, I found out that I had an underactive thyroid. I developed hand eczema at 18 that spread to my entire body by 20. The drugs that were used on me as a childhood asthmatic were the exact same drugs they used for eczema. So I became tolerant to those drugs and ended up suffering painfully because of it. In the summer of 1999, before I turned 23, I had eczema all over my body. It became a chronic condition. The pain was like soaking in a tub of ketchup after being cut all over with a razor blade. Very painful. Lifting heavy weights and running gave me hope that I still had health. At night, to tolerate this pain, I would squint my eyes and focus how this pain was not me. I ended up going through an out-of-body experience. That fall, my GI tract suffered from the stress of it. I've always had a sensitive GI since. At 23, I went away to engineering graduate school with this. Going away didn't last long. I thought graduate students would be more mature than the undergrads, but the ones I met were not. I was into running in the gym, and they didn't understand that. They were still partying, socializing, and drinking up. My research advisor was a narc who tried to fail me. I dropped out 4 months later and went back home. Between being sick and rejected, I was an emotional, nervous wreck. So you know my parents were there for me. Oh, yes. When I came back home, Andy's girlfriend just graduated from engineering school and came over to show off his brand new Mercedes sports car convertible. My parents were so excited for him. Dad didn't understand why I wasn't excited for him, too. He was very excited for him, showing him empathy, but not me. I think they do understand other person's emotions to be able to rub it in their face. In this case, I received none while they were giving it all to the friend. I decided to go to a local graduate school for my master's. During this time, I was very close to considering occupational disability when my mom, of all people, mentioned she heard the tanning bed helped skin problems. So I started doing that and it calmed my skin down to a normal eczema condition. I was in Andy's wedding with no rash, no acne, and a tan. I ended up graduating and getting a job. I'm still at home now. I'm st- oh wait, I ended up graduating and getting a job. I'm still at now. I'm still at now, a narc farm. At 30, my skin became itchy again, chronically itchy. Except this time the itch was not coming from the skin surface, but underneath. My body was in a constant state of itch. Once I came home from work, deliberately pounding my body up against the wall, hoping the pain would cease the itch. But I could not pound hard enough without damaging the wall. I regularly took hot showers because the extreme heat of the water would temporarily cease the itch. Sweating would make it worse to the point I would have itch fits where I felt the itch would shoot down my spine. Thinking it could get no worse, I allowed my younger brother's girlfriend to live at my house. I've been living under ultra-sensitive lifestyle for over 10 years and she had no clue what I went through or was going through, even though I mentioned it to her. I thought my skin could not get any worse than this, but I was utterly wrong. She used dryer sheets and then left them in the dryer without me knowing. So after my hot shower, I ended up drying off with a towel that nearly killed me. When drying off, the itch all over my body was so intense and excruciating that I was trying to stop myself from clawing and ripping my skin off. My body tremored in order to keep myself from killing myself. These episodes lasted about 20 minutes before subsiding. I had 3 near-death itch trauma attacks. For the next 3 months, I was so tired I went to bed at 8 p.m. because of what this did to me. During this time, I spent thousands of dollars trying different diet pills and supplements, and nothing permanently worked. Tanning did not work. Different soaps and lotions did not work. If a drug or supplement worked, it would only work for 2 to 6 weeks and then would stop working completely. Upping the dose did not work. I was miserable, going through many sleepless nights due to this condition. My acne during this period was so bad on my face that I looked like a meth addict. Sometimes I got these huge hives on my back that was gross, but in 2 days would dry up and go away. I was going to the Cleveland Clinic for this condition and saw several dermatologists and an allergist. My blood work kept coming back with high IgE levels, which meant I was not crazy, but with no name for this condition, I did not know what to say to anybody about what I was going through. The doctors just labeled it as pruritic disorder. Who knows what that is? I found the term called neurodermatitis, but according to Wikipedia, that is not deadly. I became a Christian at 25 because of the loneliness, depression, and anxiety I was going through. At 31, I started going with my neighbor to a Pentecostal church. They believed in miraculous healing. I did, but it did not happen to me for this. Unfortunately, this belief can be stretched to a religion stigma that I'm doing something wrong or isn't that bad, especially if they don't understand the sickness, which I feel is what happened when I hung out with my neighbor's church friends. I left the church to attend a similar church in a poor black part of town. This was an amazing experience. The bishop, a man in his late 60s, supported women preaching. So I got to preach with other women. It was only a group of 15 people, but they helped me get through this. I do understand how the church is a huge magnet for narcs. This is sad but true. My family is not religious, but when I told them I was a Christian, they rolled their eyes and ignored it and used it against me whenever they could. Of course, they're not going to be happy for me because mom cannot. She is passive. But Ollie, thanks to your explanation, I believe she is the lead narc. At 32, I decided to go to another Cleveland Clinic dermatologist, but this time decided not to show my skin. The doctor listened when I said the itch was not what you can see, is not about what you can see. I was referenced to a psychiatrist who prescribed me an anti-seizure drug that worked a miracle for about 5 months before it stopped working. I still calmed down, but I still calmed down the problem enough that I could go back to school while working full time. I was hoping to go back to grad school to open a new career opportunity to me. And what I'm thinking whenever I hear about like how a medication works for a while and then stops working, much like my migraines, okay, light causes them, yeah. Bright light is one of the triggers to it. But I don't think it's so much as the fluorescent lighting as was the fluorescent lighting that used to be in the basement where my mother used to beat the shit out of me. Triggers it. What I'm thinking is, and I don't know, this is just, a thought, that these itching episodes, not the eczema so much, but the episodes are psychosomatic, where it's your subconscious, your way of your subconscious telling you there's a problem. And I think it all relates to narcissism. Look, you slept next to a wood-burning oven that's putting out black smoke for years. That caused your asthma. I'm sure it caused a lot of your skin conditions. Probably threw off your entire body chemistry as a child. It's why your parents ignore the condition, because they know they're responsible for it. They'll never acknowledge it because then it's going to get down to the root cause of where it all came from. And the root cause is them. Then at 34, I got fibromyalgia and my severe skin flare-ups came back. This was very difficult because no physician really knows what to do about fibromyalgia. 2 months prior, I started seeing a physician in rheumatology to test me for lupus that came out negative. For the fibromyalgia diagnosis, I went through a battery of tests to make sure it was not something else. I was tested for lupus multiple times, but the results were negative. There are many symptoms to fibromyalgia. The chronic pain, the lack of sleep, the weakness was the worst. First, the rheumatologist I saw at the Cleveland Clinic who diagnosed me was too afraid to give me medication because I was drug sensitive, and when a drug works, it takes a small dose. I found another rheumatologist who was willing to treat me. He also referred me to another dermatologist to do a skin patch test to make sure these skin problems was dermatitis. The dermatologist recommended a cancer pill, but I had just turned 35 and never had kids. This drug causes reproductive problems, so I did not accept it. He offered no other treatment options at that time. The side effects of the fiber drugs ended up too severe to work, but the sleep meds did. So I ended up suffering like this and became dependent on sleep medication in order to fight the chronic fatigue. My muscles became so weak, I ended up becoming ambidextrous to right in order to get ordinary chores done. And at 36, I had to stop school, and I haven't been back since. Here's my feeling with fibromyalgia. Because I never knew what to make of it, because these people saying that they have it, and on and on and on with it. And here's the conclusion I basically come to. I have never found somebody who's suffering from fibromyalgia who didn't also suffer from narcissistic abuse, who wasn't abused by a narcissist. I haven't. So again, that would tell me the pain is real. It's happening. Your problem with fibromyalgia isn't one that's going to be cured by medication. It's psychosomatic. It's your subconscious alerting you to the problem, putting you in physical pain to deal with the problem in your head, the problem of your narcissistic abuse, the problem of fully and truly dealing with these people for who and what they truly are. It's a stress reaction to your mental anguish of your lifetime of abuse. It's why one thing keeps breaking down after another after another. Some people's systems are just set up like that. Some get migraines like me, some get fibromyalgia. It comes out in a lot of different ways. But the human body is an amazing apparatus. And our brains, we just don't understand. And they ask why the rise in fibromyalgia. Why all this fibromyalgia just comes out of nowhere? Well, if you look at the rise of fibromyalgia and you compare it with the rise of narcissism in the society and the baby boomer generation, now you're starting to connect some dots, aren't you? So now because fibromyalgia is like this new thing, it's the perfect weapon. Oh, you're just making it up. You're a baby. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. Where the source of fibromyalgia is them. Fibromyalgia is your mind causing your nerves to react, to tell you, you got to deal with this. You got to get these people out. You got to get all the stress, all the bad people, all the people who have hurt you mentally, physically, sexually, however it's been, out of your life. It is DEFCON 5. It is the panic button. Your body is telling you in every way it can, you need to cut all these people out of your life. You need to move on with your life. You need to accept that these people are evil and they never cared about you, because that is the only way you're ever going to heal. Drugs will work momentarily because, again, it's a psychosomatic soothe. Some of them get you high, some of them do things, but eventually it wears off, just like my migraine medication. Eventually it wears off. Unless I can smoke enough weed to counterbalance it, which is one of the benefits of medical marijuana for me. You know, but I was so stressed. But that's neither here nor there. I'm 39 now, and for the past 2 years found the regimen for the fibro that has been working well. I spent the last year getting off the sleep meds, and I'm almost completely off. My skin is much better too, but I'm restricted to indoor activities. I got back to music, playing piano again, and taking vocal lessons. Do you see what's happening? Your skin's clearing up. The fibro's going away as you're doing what you were meant to do. As you're doing the things they always assaulted you for. And lo and behold, the fibro's going away. So is the skin problems. For the past 14 months, I've been no contact with my family. I did not know what no contact was at the time. I just knew what they did to me was crazy. And with being sickly, I was unable to deal with them anymore. They planned on going on a family. They planned on me going on a family vacation with them. I took the time to make hotel reservations and get a house sitter for it. I was I was to go with my parents and younger brother in their van. The night before, mom called me in a neurotic, anxious state, asking me to bring over my luggage right away, as if something terribly wrong had happened. At this point, I had already packed most of my stuff, and this made me reorganize everything. I was up until 2 a.m. when they were picking me up at 6 a.m. With the fibro, it was hard for me to get up in the morning, so this was taxing. Of course, I told my family that I was sick countless times, but with no acknowledgement. Dad at times would express his empathy by telling me I could lift more than that or do I could lift more than that or do that. When I said I couldn't. Because I went from a strong athletic to a weak woman, he had to rub it in my face. Anyways, they drove to my house at 6 a.m. I was running 5 minutes late, and Dad was yelling at me for not being ready to leave. So he got so overheated, I got in his face and yelled at him to get off my property, while my 30-year-old golden child brother was in the back of the van laughing. Mom was so innocent just sitting in the van. I know she got Dad upset. I got much to talk about, but I want to focus on my Narc-6 story for now. I want to give you confirmation of the lessons you are teaching the community and to give them hope to the Narc families out there. Ollie, I wanted your advice because I'm turning 40 soon and got no family of my own. I was engaged once to a Narc 12 years ago. I would like to socialize again, but I am limited to indoor activities with the medical condition that people will take me as crazy for a family that I don't associate with. The only people I can seem to relate are cancer and lupus patients. I left the church 4 years ago because the bishop died, and I didn't want to go to church now or anytime soon. The fact my life has been hard, unlike most 40-year-olds who has been through things like marriage, divorce, child rearing, substance abuse, which I cannot relate to. I do not want to get with a sick group because I don't want to dwell on it. Many times I've tried online dating, but like you explained, I'm only attracting narcs because I just wanted a committed relationship. I'm not ready to join a music group. I don't know how I will. I don't work well in choirs because they attract female narcs, aka divas. Hopefully my job situation will change next year. I'm If not, I'm going back to school somehow. I've realized through studying narcissism that my weakness has been a lack of boundaries, which I am now conscientious of. I have been too kind too quickly to people. My parents never gave me boundaries, nor taught them to me. I don't feel comfortable going out alone anymore because I already feel strange enough. Do you have any ideas how to socialize again? Thanks, Amy. Well, again, Amy, the first thing I want to get across to you is you need to realize the reasons why you were sick, why you couldn't get out of bed on that vacation because you didn't want to go. Your body is stopping you. So maybe you need to look at your pain is when you get it is what is my body telling me right now about my narcissism? What am I not doing right now that I want to do that I'm not, that my body is really kind of forcing me to do? You know, the socializing thing, you just got to go do it. You just got to just get out there. There's no reason for you not to go and join online music forums, online music groups. Try posting some of it, playing your piano and posting it on YouTube, getting yourself out there from your home, not using online dating sites, but just general resources could be a factor for you, could help. And I know it's tough to do, but you got to go out, you got to get out there. I guarantee you the longer you stay away from these people, the less pain you're going to be in physically, the better your skin conditions are going to be. Okay? And, I think sometimes when you do get pain out there, it's the anxiety. your anxiety takes over and it manifests into physical pain, into eczema, into other things. Try talking to to a therapist, to your therapist, to a psychologist. Say like, I think a lot of this is my body trying to tell me something. Whereas there's not necessarily a physical disease or ailment. I mean, I'm sick and I'm broken, but it's up here and it can be fixed. The pain is real. All of it is obviously real. Know the source. The source is still your family if you're still dealing with them in any way, shape, or form. And I think the source is the anxiety in you doing what you want to do in your life. So thank you so much for your contribution and thank you for your story. I hope this helped. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a narcissist you'd like to expose or a topic you'd like me to cover, you know what to do with my PayPal link and the email link in the description box. And remember, when you do email me your story, please put at the top of the email whether it is with or without contribution and what name you'd like to go by. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye.